You're retro trekking with the Caramel Apples podcast, the apple snack that brings you a retro vibe, both crunchy and sweet, with your hosts Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee. Thank you for tuning in. It is so good to have you stay connected with us weekly. I tell you. All right. Thank you for tuning in. You can stay connected with the Retro Orchard weekly on X, the Gram, TikTok, and swing by our YouTube channel, and of course, our official website, retrotrekcaramelapples.com.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. The Retro Orchard is always ripe for picking, and we love our topics like the one we have this week.
That's right.
So, we decided that we are going to go somewhere that's going to really inspire a thought-provoking moment for you, hopefully, and that is old school 80s production companies. This topic is so exciting because it really does draw you right back into that world.
Yes, it really does. And thank you, Coop, for all that, because you come out swinging this week. This is going to be a fascinating subject to talk about for a few minutes because, again, this is one of those things that happened or we experienced as we were coming up. It's just something you just kind of, you saw it, you noticed it, and you couldn't took it for granted because it was just part of what you were doing in your affairs. Oh, you're sitting down with your homies, your girl squad.
Yeah, yes. Oh, yes. They are always right there in the thick of our memories, aren't they?
Yes, and we love each and every one of them. Just awesome.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, like we took these things for granted because you're just sitting down watching a movie or something, and it would just play out. It would just play out. So when we think about certain specific 80s movies, studio intros or logos, we are so sure to have a ton of nostalgia over the cinematic phenomena, huh, Coop?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Growing up in this era in particular, it was the era of the VCR tapes. It's like, oh my goodness, just a step above the beta machine. But, the movie studio, their intros were usually the first things you saw, after pushing play.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get the setup. The theme song would start, the mood would set, and the anticipation would predictably set in. Like, oh yes, so excited. We are here for it. So we love it.
Oh, hashtag facts, Coop. I mean, straight up. I can vividly remember the Universal logo paired with the lightly haunting, curious, provoking theme chime song for the movie The Wiz.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
hear it
that's
now, can't you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like
Absolutely.
right there in your mind's eye. But I mean, I don't know about you, Coop, but I mean, for me, it's so much fun and it's warmly nostalgic to see this phenomena take place whenever we are in the mood to pop in an old school gym, like just something like the Wiz. This certainly triggers some fun, nostalgic memories.
I bet, and it's near and dear because it was near and dear in our family. So
Yeah.
I love that you even mentioned that. So kudos to you, Kennard.
You can always count on me, this crazy caramel apple.
Yeah, well, we love it. So anyway, moving on. Because we could go on and on, right?
All too well.
So one of the first ones outside of what you just mentioned is Columbia
Oh,
Films.
Columbia Pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. And to fit our parameters, we have 1981 through 1993. And one of these that I don't know if you remember, but I'm pretty sure that Mom took us to see Annie and Daddy Warbucks.
I I don't remember seeing much of that movie.
Okay. So maybe that was my imagination. I don't even know. But
No, I think you're probably cool. It's bits and pieces.
but that was circa 1982. And then, of course, there was Ghostbusters, which in our little small town, many, many, many people lined up at the theater that night. I believe it was opening night. But anyway, they were around the corner. And everybody got to enjoy that. They saw the logo for the first time, for that movie, 1994. That's crazy.
I know.
And we
Oh,
have another
84.
one.
84.
I'm sorry. Fast forwarding too much. Okay, back it up a little bit. Slow down, Coop. So, so another one from that year, 84 again, was The Karate Kid.
Oh, another one of our favorites.
Yes, yes. Then we have 85, Fright Night. That was a submission by Bob and Adiris. So thank you so much for that. So appreciate that. And here's another one, a heavy hitter, is Stand By Me. That was from 86.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And probably like it had some old school actors in it, but also liked it because it was surrounding like the mysteriousness of the train and a train track and some deep seated coming of age issues. But yeah, Stand By Me was one of those thinking type of movies. So yes, good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Columbia Pictures. All right. Well done.
What we got for Disney?
Yes, Disney's our next production company. And who's not interested or familiar with Disney at the beginning of their films?
I know, and it's really changed a lot. Their logo has changed a lot. So we're talking about old school Disney.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And she has Tinkerbell and all this stuff, but it has morphed over the years.
Yeah.
For both their live action as well as cartoon animated displays. But we're going to talk about Disney for the 1985 through 2006 era.
Yeah.
And we did see this movie here. It was The Great Mouse Detective in 1986.
I believe Mom took us to see that one.
I think so. We went to our dual twin theater downtown that she was talking about with Ghostbusters. But yeah. There's also another one of our rabid favorites. It was actually a live action one. Was Flight of the Navigator.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That was drive-through, wasn't it? Or drive-in, sorry. Didn't we see that at the drive-in? No?
No, we saw it at the theater because we went with somebody in our girl squad and her brother.
Thank you for the recollection. Yes, I remember what you're talking about now. Yep.
Yes. And then, like, we went home and we, Mom had a hibachi grill, and I think we grilled some hot dogs and hamburgers after I made a day of it.
Yep.
With their mom, but that was pretty fun. That was in 86.
Yep.
Another one I think we saw at our double twin theater was Oliver and Company with the Girl Squad.
But you know what? I actually did not see this one.
Oh, really?
I didn't go. I stayed home and watched the Super Bowl with Dad.
Oh, well, I saw it, and it was cute. It was pretty cute.
I bet it was. You got the kitty cat, so I know you were enjoying that thoroughly.
That's right. Since we're cat moms, caramel apple cat moms. Yeah. So Oliver and Company was 1988.
Yeah.
And a year later, we saw, and I think it was at the theater. We just had some good stuff back then. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids with Rick Moranis in 1989.
Yes.
And then, of course, another Girl Squad favorite. Was The Little Mermaid in 1989 as well.
Yeah, and I would have to say, I think we speak the same language with this movie. I believe it is our absolute favorite Disney. We love Disney movies, but this is our favorite Disney movie.
And I can't imagine why.
I know. Stay tuned for that.
Okay, our next one, Coop's going to get us rolling on 20th Century Fox.
That's right. So the time parameters that we're focusing in on again, like Columbia, was 1981 to 1993. And okay, pause for the silent moment just
Oh,
for a second.
here we go.
Here we go, the rabbit hole of Star Wars. Yes. Anytime we can visit the Outer Rim, this was Return of the Jedi, 1983. I would love to do a Girl Squad send off for that, but I'll hang off and not do that again. But Star Wars is just amazing. Another one is Die Hard. It definitely has its following. It has several sequels to it, but that was 1988.
Yes, that's a fan favorite. You're right.
Yes. And here we are, fall of this year. And this next movie on the list for 20th Century Fox logo was Princess Bride. This takes you into this time period. I'm sorry. This is the best. Fall, Princess Bride. It's very fairy tale, very Renaissance festival, but that was 1987. So the 20th Century Fox has me swirling right now. Yes, I'm spiraling. I'm going down that rabbit hole.
That's right. The Rennie Fest. Oh my goodness. So sorry, Orchard Archivers.
So sorry.
But not sorry.
No. So Kennedy, what's next?
Okay, now we do remember this one, but it's not as mind bending as the other ones we just went over, but we do remember it. Is Geffen.
Yeah.
For Geffen Pictures. And we're going to talk about some of the movies that they produced and presented from the time of 1982 to 1998.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that like just a big circle that kind of turns and then it turns into a big G once it does that?
I think so. And it was red.
Okay.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was. Awesome.
Okay. And that was real quick, that was one of the things that was neat about some of these logos, because just like everything else, like there was more, I think it was more honed in. It was a lot less of it. Like it wasn't as available and spread out now. Like everything, like there's all kinds of production companies now. You don't even know. There's so many.
Right.
I mean, and they might have ties with the big ones, the big kahunas or whatever, but like you can't even keep up. It's like radio stations and channels on TV and
right.
So this is how we can even have a topic like this, because at the time, these were the offerings, and these were heavy hitters that helmed some of our favorite retro films from the past.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So cool.
Okay. So I didn't see this one until later in life. I saw it on cable TV, like if you're at a hotel or something and they got stuff on, and you might run into something like this. But it was Risky Business, the one with Tom Cruise in it and Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, okay.
1983. Like you said, they got that infamous scene sliding in front of the stairway.
Yeah, literally, that's the scene that everybody knows. It is so iconic. And it's like, once you see that scene, okay, yeah, you can say, I saw the movie. That's because it's what you see everywhere, right? So they're like, right. Forget the rest of it. That's the important part.
And we also had another submission from our TikTok page from a Paul G, and Melissa. And that one's they submitted After Hours in 1985. So thank you, Paul and Melissa,
nice.
for that. Yeah. Also, we have another submission from an Ann. Is it Andy 814? She said Little Shop of Horrors from 1986.
Oh, cool. All right.
And then everybody knows this one, because actually they just had the sequel come out a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know how good it was. I haven't really heard anything about it, but I think it did make some money. It didn't?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I was agreeing with you. I haven't seen it and haven't heard much.
I haven't either, but that's how it is nowadays. So no fault on this next entry, but the original Beetlejuice that came out, which I think was in 86 or 87.
That seems about right. Yeah. Yeah, yes. Like, I love this list is very, very eclectic, but it's taking us, into that whole realm of how movies are made, and it really is from start to finish. So when that screen would move back, or not the screen, but the curtain would actually move back, so you revealing the screen, and then Columbia, Disney, 20th Century Fox, Geffen, and our next one, New Line Cinema. Like when these would show up, like it just, you settled in, you popped some popcorn, took a sip of that soda, you're ready, right? Like, oh
Yes.
my goodness. It was just a different time. Going to the movie was just a different time period. I just loved it back then.
And miss it so much.
And miss it so much, exactly. Because
Yeah.
everything that we've already talked about would pack the theater. It would pack the theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not like
Yeah.
that anymore. But for some movies can, kind of bolster that again. But, by and large, it's not like it was back then.
Right, right.
So, as we mentioned, our next one on our list was New Line Cinema, 73 to 1987.
That's a
Um,
stretch.
yeah, and what's interesting is New Line, I mean, I do vaguely remember it on the beginnings of some things, but for us, New Line is very, very, very synonymous with one of our favorite movies of all time. And we won't go into that because it is not in our time parameters. So we would not be staying loyal to that. But
Exactly.
yeah, like it walks hand in hand with that. So, but it's
Yes.
been around. It's been around for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And to your point, I think the first time because like you said, from 1973 on into, so I don't remember or taking notice of New Line Cinema logo until I think it was Ace Ventura or The Mask,
Yeah.
which I love the music. Why they were rolling New Line out, same thing. You could tell that you're getting ready to roll into an adventure,
Right.
and it just made the movie that much more fascinating. Like you're like, hold on for the ride, you know.
Absolutely. Yes.
But yeah, Jim Carrey stuff. I think he has a lot of New Line Cinema fodder,
He's something else.
and thank God for that too. Okay, so our next one. This is a familiar one. This one is Coop and I have the guilty pleasure of liking a lot of the coming of age, teeny bopper, young, youthful type stupid movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
And a couple of our favorite ones had the Touchstone Pictures roll out. I know, like we can see it in our mind's eye right now.
That's right. That's right.
But one of our favorites that we will be covering soon here, right here on the podcast, is "Can't Buy Me Love" from 1987.
Oh man. Totally remember going into one of our little smaller video stores at the time with the Girl Squad. And I remember there was the little tickets, the little like key thing you would take, right? We were so excited. We were so excited to watch this movie. So we
Yeah.
actually went in, picked it out, took the little thing up, checked it out, and then went and got our pizza. I think it was Little Caesars that night.
Yum yum.
Yum yum. And they were big Coke people in that house. So we were drinking Coca-Cola.
Yum yum
So
again.
yum yum again. Like you said, Touchstone Pictures, they brought that movie to us. And I mean, it was, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
yesterday.
Just like yesterday. That's
Just like
amazing
yesterday.
going back, isn't it?
I know. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All day long.
And like Touchstone Pictures, their little lineup we got listed here is kind of like what you were saying for who was it with Princess Bride? That was 20th Century Fox.
Yes.
So the next one for Touchstone was Adventures in Babysitting, which was an 87.
Another good one.
Same thing.
Yep.
Another one we saw with our cousins was in this era was Three Men and a Baby in 87.
That's right. That's right.
Good year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a couple years later, we have, because Tom Hanks was on Flippin' Fire back in the 80s, the mid to late 80s.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was, and I don't know if I've seen this movie clear through, so I need to make that a project going forward. But Turner and Hooch, 1989.
Yep.
And oh, we got a submission from Vader Q, from the Gram. And that was Dead Poet Society from 1989. So thank you, Vader Q. You're right. This is amazing that some of the stuff Touchstone Pictures helmed. All right, what's next, Cube?
All right, so with this next one, okay, bear with me for just a second. It is Orion Pictures, right? And, anytime I hear that word, I think of 89 Batman because of the song Arms of Orion. So I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I took a
No,
detour in the orchard. I'm bringing it back around. But
no,
anyway,
that's
it
a
is in that
lovely
time period.
memory.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, it was right there in that time parameter. So anytime you talk about Batman, it's fine. But Orion was in 1980 through 1996. And there's nothing on this list that other people will not go, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like, they will not go, what? I missed that one. So, Caddyshack,
I love Caddyshack.
1980. Yeah, yeah. And, there were so many heavy hitters in that movie.
Facts. Preach.
Yes, and it was so much fun and it's crazy. I mean, zany is a good word for that one. Here's another one, kind of up my alley, is The Terminator, 1984.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's another Chevy Chase, The Three Amigos.
The singing bush.
And that was 86.
Yeah.
And here's one that has had a revival of sorts, RoboCop, 1987. Did see the original and the sequel, and not sequel, remake. I didn't mind the remake, and that's saying something.
Okay.
But of course, the original, it's when you can experience for the first time, it's a little bit different, So usually the original reigns supreme. Not always, but with this one, yeah. So next on our list, Kennedy's going to talk about Paramount Pictures.
I sure am. Be glad to. So this is again one of the heavy hitters in Hollywood back then, and it is still pretty much of a heavy hitter now. There are a lot of movies. I mean, we don't watch movies like we do in the context of what we're talking about from our recent past. We don't have the time for one, but there's just nothing really that good out. But if you do happen to catch something every now and then, current, you'll still see the infamous mountain and the stars going around it.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
they actually remade something that's part of our list here, so we'll get there in a minute. But from 75 to 87, we think about the zany movie of comedy, Airplane in 1980. And Don't Call Me Shirley.
Don't call me Shirley.
I know. And you're Shirley.
Right?
Curly Shirley. No, I'm just kidding. But this next one here is one of Coop's absolute all-time favorites that came out in 1981, which was Raiders of the Lost Ark with Harrison Ford.
I just
Yeah,
love Harrison Ford.
he's good.
He is. He really is.
Yeah, it's what he offered in his acting
He's really
prowess,
good.
him and so many others, that it's like, this is what we're missing nowadays. Like, it's not there. Yes. So now we have Beverly Hills Cop from 1984,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which that's a cult classic if there ever was one. Like, everybody loved Axel F. They like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, and that song was really cool too.
We loved it.
Um, oh, absolutely right. We had the 45.
We did.
But is this the one you were talking about that they did a remake, because they did do a sequel to it? Axel F is actually the name. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
No, but thank you very much, because I wasn't even thinking of that. They did just remake this, didn't they?
I wonder if it's Paramount. I don't even know.
We'll have to check. It probably is.
Yeah.
It probably is, but I know it's on. You can watch it on one of the famous streaming platforms now. So
Absolutely, yes.
no, but actually, the one I was thinking of is Top Gun from
Mm.
1986.
Ah,
Which, when Maverick came out a couple years ago, they still had the mountain, so they still helmed it for
nice.
potential audiences back then, and it was a pretty good movie. I
It
can't
was,
complain.
wasn't
Like,
it?
yeah, we needed something like that, but now we're back in the hole again, so whatever.
They actually did make that feel very much like there wasn't this huge amount of decades in between movies.
Yeah,
Like it was good.
it was good. Like, we saw
Yeah.
it more than once.
Yeah. Very good.
And our last one in this list is pretty fun. Is Ferris Bueller's Day Off in 1986. So Ferris.
You know what? That's one that is very much teeny bopper. It'll put you in mind of an '80s teenage life. It fit the parameters, and you can tell it was made in that time period. So cool.
Ferris was nuts. That's all there is to it. Like,
He
who
was
can't not
nuts.
like Ferris?
That's an honorary name.
It is. That'd be a cute cat's name.
It would be. So here's another one that's been around for quite some time, and that is United Artists.
Oh, yeah.
And from 82 to 87, some of these will really ring a bell or two. Rocky 3.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember some friends of our parents, they really loved the Rocky series. So if we wanted to catch up on Rocky, we could go to their house very easily and see what's going on. We were very, very young in 82, but still, we associate those movies with them.
Right.
So that's cool. So obviously United Artists as well. War Games, that was from 83.
Okay.
And another one from 83 is Octopussy. Our data is huge on James Bond.
Yeah.
So if you need to get caught up on any of those, he's your man. He is your guy.
That's right.
And I think this next one on our list definitely saw the remake of it. I think that was in 12. But anyway, the original was Red Dawn in 1984. That's kind of one that your husband is a big fan of, wasn't he?
Yeah, he really likes it. Yeah.
Cool, 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 cool.
Yeah, he tried to con me into watching it one time, and I did. I obliged him, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
So did you watch the 84 version or the new version?
The 84 version, and there was only one reason why it was palpable.
I know what it is. And it wasn't Michael J. Fox this time.
No, not this time.
Notice she's not telling you, listeners.
That's right. You have to stay tuned and you'll get a whole Orchard Trek retro on who that person is.
I'm sure it's coming soon to a podcast near you.
That's right.
That's right. So here's another one, and this one's from 87, which is actually Kennedy Rizzo's favorite year of the 80s for a lot of reasons. But this one is called The Living Daylights.
Yes.
So,
that was James Bond, right?
Go ask Dada. I'm not sure. It probably is.
I think it is. And I think it had that Timothy Dalton in it. I think that was his only installment for that. That was what he was a part of, which
got you.
We'll say no more. There's his installment. So
okay.
Was not a good year for him. Okay, so now we're going to go to another big one, and that was Universal Pictures, Universal Studios, between 1963 and 1990. And we started out our whole discussion this week about the memory of their logo before the Wiz.
Yeah.
So that's the first one on our list here. So we got the Wiz from 1978, and that movie is just all sorts of wonderful for all sorts of wonderful reasons. So
yeah.
I mean, it was near and dear anyway, but it's taken on a new flavor. So we really like the Liz. Also, the Blues Brothers from 1982. That one was nuts.
Yeah, like they're off the chain with being nutty. Just ridiculous the whole time.
They are. Also, one we'll be visiting on the podcast here is E.T. from 1982. Yeah. We love us some E.T. big time.
You know, and that's so cool too, because E.T. and Universal, right? It's like, that's just kind of, it makes sense that they put it out.
Yeah.
We want the phone home.
I know. Yeah, that one. And just a footnote, a fun fact that they had it from Amblin Pictures too, with the infamous little bike and E.T. in his little basket going up for the moon.
Right? That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So again, our brains just put that together because it's a part of our adventure. Whatever you decide to sit and watch, what we're talking about starts out everything and it's part of the adventure. And we so love that.
Absolutely.
A couple more here. We got The Breakfast Club from 1985, which I am embarrassed to say I've not watched clear through ever.
That blows my mind, Kennedy Rizzo.
I know, how embarrassing, right?
I'm like, what? How have you not seen The Breakfast Club?
She's like, get on that.
Get on that now.
Well, happy to say that I have caught myself up on the next one here and watched it a few times, is Back to the Future from 1985.
So just so you know, watching Back to the Future 100 times does not make up for not seeing The Breakfast Club at some point.
Really?
Yes. But please, continue watching Back to the Future as much as you like.
Oh, I will, because of specific MJF. All right, so we are chopping down our list, aren't we, Cooper Lee? Now the next one is who?
That would be Warner Brothers. Mm-hmm. They have been around, seems like, since the dawn of time, but you know, at least since movies have been around.
That's
so this is 1972 to 1984. Here's one that so many people put at the top of their frightening list, right? They're like, oh my goodness, like that movie is like the scariest thing I've ever seen. And that would be The Shining.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, Jack Nicholson, he's good at what he does.
Maybe too good.
Yeah, maybe. He'd probably say, is there such a thing? But anyway, that was a horrible Jack Nicholson impression, wasn't it? But that's from 1980. Blade Runner. Again, Harrison Ford. Woo-hoo!
That's right.
That's right. And Sean Young, she was in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That is 1982. Of course, here's another Chevy Chase, because he's good at what he does. He's nuts.
He is bona fide, certifiably nuts.
He really is. And that would be National Lampoon's Vacation. And that was 83. Here's a couple more on our list. They're both coming from the year of 1984. That would be Gremlins, who got cute little sweet Mogwai. I'm sorry. He is adorable. He is just Gizmo. So cute. Gizmo is so stinking cute.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have Police Academy. Yes,
and Police Academy, we did not see this one from 1984, but the first one, I believe, you're the same, Coop, was the fifth installment.
Yes. Now, I've actually caught up and seen the others, but 5 remains my favorite.
Same here.
Yes, 5 is the fave.
What is it? Good. Commandant Lassard? He's nuts!
Yes.
We'll have to do that one, because like that is just pure fun, just from start to the end.
It is, and I think it was in the 90s, I believe.
Yes, like 96.
Yeah, so we'll make a special, exception for that.
Stay tuned,
we'll
archivers.
Do that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it.
Yes. Okay, we got one more, and we're about to tie up our discussion on this. This has been actually really a lot of fun, and it just blasts those images into your mind from your favorites, you can see things in your mind's eye now, but this is just like a really strong memory that we didn't even realize was really filed there. But then that sitting and dissecting it and talking about it, it really does it's been fun, it kind of makes you think about it a little more.
It really does. Yes.
Okay, so we left the best one to last. This is TriStar Pictures or Films. So
Yep.
the one I did like this movie, and I think it was in 1985. 84 or 85 was The Last Dragon.
Oh, okay.
And of course, it had the wonderful song accompaniment that was from DeBarge at the time. It was Rhythm of the Night. That was his theme for powering up and doing his thing in the movie.
All right. All right. So it's interesting because you mentioned DeBarge, because that really does take you back to this time period.
It does.
And they also did another movie, had a song for a major movie back then, which was Short Circuit. So this was their era. So I love that you mentioned them, because I mean, we're in the realm and that place right now of nostalgia, and DeBarge takes you back in just a heartbeat. So
it does. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So that was a great one.
Yeah. And the fact of the logo, I remember at one point it just kind of came running, and then it had a longer logo that it comes running from someplace else and comes towards the camera, and the music went longer and longer, and then it takes flight. It's like, that Pegasus is amazing. I mean, it was like, this is awesome, which is so 80s too. Pegasus. Oh, that's so 80s.
Oh yeah, we had to have our mythical creatures. Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And then I think they kind of combined a few times on some things, which was with Columbia Pictures, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. And I am so sorry, Coopy. I had forgotten that, to describe what that was. So thank you. That was wonderful, because that was a solid memory to start of a lot of those movies.
Right.
I was getting ahead of myself. I jumped ahead, but it's like, okay, so at least we're one tick down.
No, you're good. No worries.
All right. Well, we are really almost done, because, we could talk forever about stuff, but the next couple of movies before we wrap up was The Muppets Take Manhattan from 1984, which we did see that one.
Yep.
We definitely saw this one. Breakin' 2, The Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, our mama, she had an appreciation for the breakdancing movies. So I do remember seeing one with her, and I can't remember, did we see two with Mom too?
I think so.
I think so too. Okay.
Yeah,
she enjoyed them.
And Turbo and Ozone appreciates her appreciating them.
That's right. Here's just a small thing. It is now in the Olympics, so if anyone thought breakdancing didn't have any kind of staying power other than TriStar Pictures, the Olympics does too. So,
oh my goodness! Which again, that is what it is.
Right.
But one more that we've got going, and then we'll get this ended, was with David Bowie, Labyrinth from 1984.
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen it, Coop?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't.
What?
I haven't. Okay. I've never seen Labyrinth. No.
We have it if you want to borrow it.
Do you have it?
Yes.
Oh, now she's in trouble, because now if I know that.
You gotta see it.
I will. We are starting to roll into cooler weather, and you're less outside, you're more inside, and look for things to do and entertain yourself. So I will put that on my to-do list.
Absolutely. I love hearing that. I think you'll enjoy it too. Fits this time period. All right. So thank you so much, listeners, and come back and see us again next week.
That's right. See you soon.
And that's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Subscribe, review, and spread the word. See you next time in the Retro Orchard, and thanks so much for listening.